my kryptonite, and I want to see what they have to say about the Trump era border policy coming to an end. Obviously, it's racist because it has to do with Trump, no matter what.
D.C. gets closer to making a bipartisan deal on the $10 billion COVID relief package. Mitch McConnell hinted that it may depend on keeping you-know-who's Title 42 immigration policy, which...
That's right. Mitch McConnell, the fiscal conservative, says, I'll pass your bill, but you got to keep that Title 42 in. Those are the Republicans for you. Those are those fiscal Republicans that are so concerned about the budget. They're all the same. They're just roadblocks. They're just speed bumps. Okay, we'll pass your bill. But just take one thing off so we look cool.
Turns back all undocumented citizens and asylum seekers at the border. Now, it's set to be lifted next month, and White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki explained why. Take a look.
Jen Psaki? I thought it was Jen Psaki. Penske?
House Press Secretary Jen Psaki explained why. Take a look.
Title 42 is a public health.
Either I've been doing microaggressions and saying her name all wrong, or she just did. And if she did, I'm going to lose it.
Directive. It's not an migration enforcement measure. And the decision on when to lift Title 42 was made by the CDC.
So I'm not really sure what's happening here. Should Republicans be...
Yeah, I don't, this is her. I don't know what side I'm supposed to be on right now. Tell me, because it's too big of an issue for me to like look up and read about and all that crap.
I'm not really sure what's happening here. Should Republicans be using this to hold up this other bill?
No.
Or are they listening to Republican voters who want to keep the policy in place?
No.
I'm still not sure what, I thought it was a medical policy also. But
technically it is. I mean, I come from a border state, so I can speak to it pretty well.
Me too, yeah.
Oh my God, I cannot stand when people do that. I need to say this is my lived experience. I have direct, oh my God, look at her eyes. I have some direct feelings regarding this because I come from a border state, and Whoopi's like, yeah, me too. I'm in New Mexico, and I live in Santa Fe, which is at the very top of New Mexico, so I know exactly what it's like to be near the border, even though New Mexico is the 5th largest state in the United States. You get it.
Arizona. Yeah, 20 years I lived there, and I've seen what open border policies can do to the country and to the people who are trying to get into this country.
What has it done to Arizona?
What do you mean by open border?
People who are...
Did you hear her? What do you mean by open border? Say it to my...
Well, like this, if they lift this, people are going to go from 7,000 people getting into the country every day to 18,000.
You said you've seen open border policies. What do you mean by that?
I mean by letting people just come in and not enforcing and sending them back. In the previous administration, I'll just say it that way, we had a zero tolerance. You need to go back and you need to come into this country legally, which I agree with. I think that this country mostly agrees that dreamers need a path to citizenship. People are welcome here with open arms as long as they come here legally. But when people are able to just cross the borders willy-nilly, there's also a criminal element. And I've seen the human trafficking that is done. There's people, they're called coyotes. They bring women and children across the border. And
look at her lips. What is she doing? I don't know, white girl. You got this wrong.
People, they're called coyotes. They bring women and children across the border and leave them in the desert and do unspeakable things to them. And so to go from 7,000 people to 18,000 people daily crossing into our border illegally, I don't know how we would pay for it. I don't know where we would put them. And it puts a lot of those people in danger.
I want to ask, do you remember?
Define, what did she just say? Define legally? Look how pompous she looks.
Those people in danger.
I want to ask, do you?
Define legally. I know it's like totally illegal to cross the border because, it's a country's border, but go ahead and define legally. Again, this is why I watch The View. This is why I look at clips, because this is what people are thinking on that side of the aisle, and it's important to know, even if it's insane.
Do you remember Ronald Reagan's?
Define legally. Can you do that? Can you go ahead and define legal? Are you saying that millions of people have been raped and trafficked? It's like the British Nazi skit, Are the Bad
speech about open borders?
No, I was...
He was for it because he felt people came across. They worked, they paid taxes, and they went home, and he was all for it. And I'm always surprised when a big shift happens in the, particularly in the Republican sector.
Yeah, the Republican sector has totally changed compared to the Democrats. The Democrats have always been the same. They've always been super progressive, and they love CRT, and they love pushing down their Marxist agenda. They love this idea of white fragility. They are big fans. They've been like that since day one. It's the Republicans. The Republicans are always like attacking us, and they're changing their devious ways. They're little demons.
Because Ronald Reagan was such a big...
Right, and Ronald Reagan is like exactly what the Republican Party is about these days. Really?
shining example to them. So I wonder.
What are they doing
when
to make it
all
safer, though?
changed.
Because the Haitians and the bridge images and the horses coming after people, that was just last fall, I thought, or December.
They still believe like the horse whipping thing, I'm sure. This is what happens when you don't actually read your news or fact check or have more than one source. You just repeat because someone else said it.
Caravans.
What are they doing now to make sure we can handle the influx? Do they have more people?
There needs to be I mean, there are Democrats.
There are laws in place, everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh-oh, she's about to say something. Get ready. She's got her eyes closed. Excuse me. I have something I need to say.
And under U.S. law, a refugee is a person who's unable to or unwilling to return to his home country because of various reasons. In this country, once you enter the country, you have a right.
I can't stand when people have their eyes closed when they're talking. It's so arrogant. Oh, let me tell you the definition of a word that you're apparently not getting. These people are refugees, okay? They're not illegal immigrants. Define legal.
Right, a legal right because of our Constitution, because of the strength of our laws, to ask for asylum.
Does it matter how you come in? Does it matter how you come in?
No, it does not. And so when you
Why? So it doesn't matter. Exactly. They're all asylum seekers. They're all people who are running away. They're all like running from war. We need to take them in. They're not like the Ukrainians. We'll take like a little bit of them. We'll take like 100,000 or some. But if you cross the border illegally, we'll take you in. I know that some people are coming from other countries other than, South American countries, and they're walking in. I know there's been reported cases of people like Chinese people walking by and Ethiopians and stuff like that, and people from other border places around the world. Listen, we just bring them in. Who cares? I know that some of them could be really good people, and then some people could be, actual murderers and, people in gangs and stuff like that. And we'll bring those people in too, and we'll wait till they commit crimes, and then we'll hold them in our prisons and, give them health care and all that stuff.
you say they're coming in illegally, I
Right.
take umbrage to that, especially because 14
Umbrage? Did she just look that word up? Who uses that? I'll take umbrage for 500.
1,000 Haitians were expelled under the Biden administration, especially because 76,000 Afghans were welcomed
Yeah.
to this country, which they should have been, and because this administration is willing to take over 100,000 Ukrainians,
Which I agree
they
with.
should.
Yes.
So it seems to me.
Which a reporter, there's been reports of over a million people crossing the border, but yeah,
That
continue.
the law is okay for some people, but not okay for people that look like me.
Oh my God. Of course, you're the victim. I know you make millions of dollars a year. You're on national television and you have this platform and all this stuff and you can say whatever you want. You basically are paid millions of dollars to come up and just spit your opinion on pieces. But yeah, you're a huge victim in America. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you.
I don't agree with that, and I think that is low-hanging fruit. There are bad
It's not
people who-
low-hanging fruit.
It is.
It is just the truth.
It's not.
It's thank you. At least she's pushing back. I can't stand when like people will just like accept an idea like that. They're just like, okay, but I know that just looks bad. No, reject it. Reject it to its core. If you don't believe it, so brave. Does open borders, Lady lock her doors at night, or exactly? Does she, her private security guard will she let me come and swim in her pool? Because I think I will tonight.
That's your opinion. That's
No,
your opinion.
Why
My
is it
opinion
okay
is
for
based on
100,000
facts.
Ukrainians
Yeah.
to come?
What did she say? My opinions are based on facts? No, that's not how it works. No, facts are based on facts. Opinions are...
It's not. That's your opinion. That's
No,
your opinion.
Why
My
is it
opinion
okay
is
for
based on
100,000
facts.
Ukrainians
Yeah.
to come in and not these other people?
Well, there's
who are
also
What she should have said is, I'm saying facts, not my whatever.
So
There's
they're
also-
running
absolutely.
from oppression
And they are,
and death
we
and
would
everything
welcome
else.
them
The
here
Haitian
if they
president
would
was
come-
assassinated.
If they would come here
Who are they assassinated by? Let's get into that little meat pile.
legally, and I'm telling you,
That
there
is
are,
legal, Stephanie.
Can I finish?
Yes.
There are bad people who are also coming into this country. China, knowing our borders are opening, will now have fentanyl coming across the borders like crazy, and 100,000
Why does this
people a
sound like
day-
Fox News?
It does.
Because I.
Oh my God. It's just like, if you have this kind of like opinion or you bring in this kind of information, all of a sudden you're Fox News, and that's her way of dismissing the argument. Oh, that's a Fox News point. Therefore, we can't talk about it. Therefore, we won't touch it. That's the problem of this country. That's the problem with so many people in corporate media. It's the problem with so many content creators. So many people are just like, oh, that's CNN's information. That's Fox News' information. That's their information. So even if it's true, we have to just reject it because I don't want to be associated with those type of people. That's not healthy.
I'm a Republican, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just.
But are you
trying to
spewing
talk
like
to you, but-
talking points
no,
here?
I
Well, where are
live
you-
in.
Oh, who's spewing talking points? It's her and not you guys? God, this is why I love the show. It's so sassy.
Numbers.
Arizona.
I don't see stats.
I lived in Arizona. I saw these things.
You guys,
How many could you see? You're one person.
Yeah, how many? Oh, this is her way. This is her way of dismissing her argument. How many actually did you see? And then I would go, how many did you see? If you want to talk about that too. They're all good people. Every single one you've met. Oh, the ones that clean your house.
But Stephanie, I understand what you're saying. When Vice President Harris went down there, she said, please stay, because right now we're not equipped at the borders. Then we saw an influx, and they couldn't handle them. They couldn't even house them. They remember
They
them
were
carrying
living
the
under a
food
bridge.
across the lakes?
Yes,
we
they
have
were
all
living
the
under a
imagery.
bridge.
If you then invite people, and by the way, I love the spirit of it. I say bring them all in.
I do
the
too.
The problem is right now our boat is not at its.
It's always, it's the people, bring them all in. I have my talk show. I have my view. And it's the people, why don't we ask some of the people that work the jobs that they'll be working, say, do you want an influx of people? Is that something you're into? Because I'm curious. Do you feel like you're achieving the American dream right now? Because we're about to ruin it even more for you.
Strongest. The lifeboat is not at its strongest. We are dealing with the highest inflation of 40 years. We're in a war. We're trying to avoid a World
So
War
we should
III.
just not follow the law.
No, it's not that, Sonny, but it's the same thing as if you have a lifeboat and you say, I want to save everyone, and everyone gets on and the boat flips. You save no one. If you can't put your own mask on first, you can't help other people. Right now, we're floundering. We have people that can't
So
eat.
we should just not follow the asylum
But
law.
Sonny, you're jumping straight across to a zero-sum explanation. What I'm saying is, even
These people are so absurdly arrogant. It's ridiculous. That's why I can't help but watch them. Because it's just, people believe this. I know people that believe this stuff. They're not so fringe as what I think that they are.
the administration that's in there now, not Republican, Democrat, said when they looked at it firsthand, we got a problem. And they started to backtrack on things.
Even Obama's administration guy came out today. I forget his name, but he came out today and said that it's too much. We can't do this anymore. We got to stop this. It's not a good thing. Stop celebrating it.
They tell me that, I say, wow, there might be some things I don't get about this. So to make it an influx of almost threefold, I don't know if we can handle it right now.
Well,
And
then we have to figure out a way to handle it. And we have to figure out a
Let's
way.
do that.
I love these people. We'll just figure out a way. I'm not going to do anything about it, and I know it doesn't affect me whatsoever, but we just need to figure out we need to do this. We're good.
Agreed.
Follow the law. They've had 2 years to figure it out. They haven't figured it out. But the answer is not these people are coming across illegally. Some are welcome and some are not. That is not the promise.
God. The Afghan people didn't come across the United States illegally. So that just ruins her debate right there, saying that those people and the Ukrainians did not come here illegally either. So again, that ruins her debate right there. The Haitians that crossed the border illegally came here illegally. Therefore, debunks her entire argument of saying we just treated them different because they looked like you. Two groups of people came here via a plane. Other people came here crossing a border that's wide open. And we don't care about, we're not checking anybody's passports. We're not trying to figure out information. Not only that, the Ukrainians were women and children. Who are the people crossing our border now? Okay? Let's stop having this like pretend conversation of the good guys versus bad guys. I wish there was like an actual discussion. It's just like it's just like people on the street. It's like homelessness. It's like they're homeless. They just need a home. And they're like, well, what about, there's also a lot of drug addicts that are openly using on the street. How dare you say that? So like, we can't have honest conversations anymore because it's too triggering for people to have an honest conversation about the harshness and realities of life, of everyday life. And that's depressing to me, that we're children and we can't have a conversation anymore. We have to just submit based on our emotional push, our emotional processes. Instead of like, let's look at the facts, let's look at the information, we'll come up with the solution together.
Of this country.
Are you criminals or not?
It's almost done.
You know what? Here's the
not
problem with that
criminals.
argument.
And I didn't say they were.
Let's not forget that this has been an
I can't believe she just accepted that. I didn't say they were all criminals. I will. You cross the border illegally, you're a criminal, period.
issue for quite some time
Decades and decades and
because the Cuban folks were allowed to come in with no problem.
That's
Nobody
right.
asked anything. We begged people to pick up the Haitian folks who were fleeing before the assassination, before everything else. So this is an issue that we all have to deal with.
Yep.
Because either everybody is welcome, and I want to be really clear.
Exactly. Either everyone's welcome or we should shut down the border and only allow people to come here legally, process them, see what their qualifications are, their backgrounds are, what are they bringing. Like other countries, like Australia, that big freaking racist pothole that no one talks about. I've had friends provide great services, very smart, master's degrees, try to become Australian citizens, and it's a pain in the freaking ass to become a part of them. And a lot of them got kicked out So this idea that America is just big bad country, it's just such a boring argument, and it's so boring.
Sometimes it sounds like we're being very race-based, but this is where we come from. We see things other people don't see, and we see them differently. If I
All the
see
time, you mean.
17 people who are white being welcomed in, and it doesn't matter that you're white, you should be welcomed in.
So you're admittingly saying on live TV you assume racism based on what people look like. What do you call that?
To the country. But I want you to welcome in brown people as well. The same
Reportedly, over 1 million people have crossed the border already this year.
way.
This administration's year.
The anecdotal evidence that you gave that some of these people are bringing fentanyl and all this other, you don't say that about Ukrainians. You don't say it about
Now this is like the dumbest point I've ever heard.
and all this other. You don't say that about Ukrainians. You don't say it about Western.
Right, because there's no Ukrainian-Mexican cartel. God, jeez. We should make The View go to the border so they know what's going on. It's like, you don't know anyone that is overdosed on fentanyl or addicted to fentanyl in America? Because I'd be surprised.
Well, I mean, they're in the middle of the war.
But why is it that those people are criminals and the others are not?
We're going to get that music that we hate.
Because that's a dumb argument. How are these people allowed on TV? Somebody help me.